There was a time when the sky was a racetrack. This was the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a tense standoff. Each side wanted to prove it was better. Each side wanted to prove it was stronger. Each side wanted to prove it was smarter. One of the biggest competitions was in the air. Both nations poured huge amounts of money into the effort. They poured in brain power, engineers and scientists building faster planes. Pilots became modern-day knights, strapping themselves into powerful machines. Machines made of metal, machines made of fire. They pushed the limits of what was possible. Every new jet had to be faster than the last one. This era, from the 1950s to the 1970s, was the golden age of speed. The sound barrier was not just broken, it was shattered. We went from propeller planes to jets that could fly at Mach 1, the speed of sound. Then came Mach 2, twice the speed of sound. The public was captivated by these incredible achievements. Test pilots like Chuck Yeager became household names, heroes who dared to fly faster than a speeding bullet. The goal seemed simple and clear: build a jet that could fly higher and faster than anything the enemy had. This intense race for raw velocity defined an entire generation of aviation, and it shaped the future of air combat in ways no one could have predicted. In the early days of jet combat, speed was everything. Imagine a dogfight in the skies over Korea. Imagine a dogfight in the skies over Vietnam. The rules were simple. The pilot who could get behind the other pilot first usually won. Speed was a huge advantage in this deadly dance. A faster jet could climb higher. A faster jet could dive quicker. This gave the pilot more energy to perform tight turns and maneuvers. A pilot with a speed advantage could control the fight. He could decide to engage the enemy. He could decide to run away and fight another day. Speed gave pilots options. Options are what keep you alive and help you complete your mission. Think about the job of an interceptor. This is a type of fighter jet designed to shoot down enemy bombers. During the Cold War, the United States had fleets of long-range bombers. The Soviet Union had fleets of long-range bombers. The only way to stop them was to send up interceptors to meet them far from home. Just as the race for the fastest jet was reaching its peak, something new came along that changed the rules of air combat forever: the guided missile. Early air-to-air missiles were not very good. They were unreliable and easy to avoid. Pilots often joked that the safest place to be was directly in front of an enemy missile. But technology improved quickly. By the 1970s and the 1980s, missiles had become incredibly smart, fast, and deadly. They could be fired from dozens of miles away, long before a pilot could even see the enemy aircraft. These new missiles were guided by sophisticated systems. Some used radar to lock onto a target. The missile had its own small radar to guide it all the way. Others used infrared sensors to home in on the heat from a jet's engine. These fire-and-forget missiles were especially dangerous. Once launched, the missile would guide itself to the target, allowing the pilot who fired it to turn away and escape. The age of honorable one-on-one duels in the sky was coming to an end. The fight was now happening at a distance, with deadly electronics making the decisions. The biggest problem for fighter jets was the speed of these new missiles. A modern air-to-air missile like the American AIM-120 AMRAAM can travel at more than Mach 4, about 3,000 miles per hour. No fighter jet in the world can fly that fast. The fastest jets ever built, like the SR-71 Blackbird, could barely reach Mach 3. A typical modern fighter, like the F-15 Eagle, has a top speed of around Mach 2.5. The math is simple and brutal. A fighter jet cannot outrun a modern missile. The old tactic of pushing the throttle and running away was no longer a reliable option. This new reality forced military planners and aircraft designers to rethink everything. If you cannot outrun a missile, what can you do? The answer was that you had to avoid being targeted in the first place, make it harder for the enemy to find you, lock onto you, and shoot a missile at you. The focus of air combat began to shift away from raw speed. It was no longer about which plane was the fastest, it was about which plane was the smartest and the hardest to detect. The missile age had begun, and it turned the entire world of fighter design upside down. Survival now depended on new strategies and new technologies. Interceptors had to be incredibly fast to take off, climb to high altitudes and fly hundreds of miles to catch the bombers, but missiles changed the cost-benefit equation. Planes like the F-106 Delta Dart were built for this one job: go fast, and to stop the bombers. Speed was also a powerful tool for survival when damaged or outnumbered in that era. Trying to build a fighter jet that can outrun a modern missile is like trying to build a car that can outrun a bullet. It is a race you simply cannot win. The physics are just not on the jet's side. A missile is small, light, and designed for one thing only: to go incredibly fast for a short period of time. It is basically a powerful rocket engine with fins and a warhead. It does not need to carry a pilot, a life support system, landing gear, or tons of fuel for a long flight. All of its mass is dedicated to propulsion and guidance. This allows it to achieve breathtaking acceleration and top speeds far beyond what a much larger, heavier aircraft can manage. A fighter jet, on the other hand, is a complex machine with many jobs. It has to carry a pilot who needs a pressurized cockpit and an ejection seat. It has to carry fuel, weapons, and powerful radar and sensor systems. It needs to be able to take off and land safely on a runway, and be strong enough to withstand the stress of high-G maneuvers. All of these things add weight and complexity. Building a jet to fly at Mach 4 or Mach 5 would require exotic materials that can handle extreme heat, and engines so powerful they would burn through fuel in minutes. The cost would be astronomical, and the final aircraft would be very delicate and difficult to maintain. Even if you could build such a fast jet, it would not be very useful in a real fight. Extreme speed comes with major drawbacks. At Mach 3 or higher, the friction from the air heats the skin of the aircraft to hundreds of degrees, making the jet shine like a beacon to infrared sensors on enemy missiles. Furthermore, turning at such high speeds is almost impossible. A jet flying at Mach 3 has a turn radius measured in dozens of miles. It cannot dogfight. It can only fly in a straight line, which makes it a predictable and easy target for a much more agile missile. So, the United States military and aircraft manufacturers looked at this problem and made a logical decision. They stopped chasing the impossible dream of a missile-beating superjet and realized that investing billions to nudge top speed from Mach 2.5 to Mach 3 was a waste of money. That small increase would not make a difference against a Mach 4 missile. The resources would be much better spent on other things. This was a major turning point. The industry stopped asking, how can we make it faster? And started asking, how can we make it survive in a world full of fast missiles? With the realization that speed alone could no longer guarantee survival, the United States Air Force and Navy began to change their priorities. The focus shifted from raw performance to information and deception. The new thinking was that the best way to win a fight is to know everything about your enemy while they know nothing about you. The goal became to see the enemy first, shoot first, get a kill before the enemy even knows you are there. This doctrine is often called first look, first shot, first kill. It relies on having better sensors and longer-range weapons, making the jet's top speed much less important. This new philosophy led to a focus on a combination of different technologies. Instead of just one single advantage like speed, modern fighters are designed to have a whole suite of advantages: stealth, advanced sensors, data networking, superior maneuverability. The idea is to create a fighter that is more aware of its surroundings than any aircraft in history. It can see enemy planes from hundreds of miles away, identify them, and share that information with other friendly forces. It is less of a lone wolf and more of a team player, connected to a network of eyes and ears in the sky, on the ground, and even in space. So, imagine a modern fighter jet like the F-22 Raptor. It is not significantly faster than the F-15 Eagle it was designed to replace, but it can do things the F-15 could only dream of. The F-22 can fly into enemy airspace without being detected on most radars. Its powerful sensors can see an enemy long before the enemy can see it. The F-22 pilot can then decide what to do. He can fire a long-range missile and destroy the target from a safe distance, or he can slip past the enemy undetected to complete another mission. The fight might be over before the other pilot ever gets a warning that he is in danger. This is a completely different way of fighting, more like a video game or a chess match than a classic dogfight. The pilot is now a manager of complex information systems. He is not just flying the plane, he is commanding a powerful weapon system. The jet's computers help him make sense of all the data, identify threats, and choose the best course of action. In this new kind of fight, the brain of the aircraft is more important than its muscle. One of the most important new technologies that replaced the need for speed is stealth. Stealth is the art of making an aircraft very difficult for the enemy to detect, especially with radar. If the enemy cannot see you on their radar screens, they cannot target you with their long-range missiles. In a way, being invisible to radar is the new way of being fast. An old fast jet tried to outrun the missile. A new stealthy jet tries to prevent the missile from ever being fired. It is a proactive defense rather than a reactive one, far more effective in a modern, high-tech battlefield. It is not a single thing, but a collection of clever designs and special materials. Stealth aircraft, like the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, use flat panels and sharp angles to scatter radar waves. Think of a disco ball. A stealth jet scatters radar signals so its radar cross-section appears incredibly small, sometimes as small as a bird or even a bumblebee. In addition to their shape, stealth jets are coated with radar-absorbent material that soaks up radar energy. Engines are hidden deep to reduce heat signature. Every part, from the canopy to the weapon bay doors, is designed with stealth in mind. The advantage is enormous. Penetrate defended airspace, gather intelligence, attack high-value targets, clear a path for others, and project power anywhere in the world. This is why the military has invested hundreds of billions of dollars in stealth technology. It is more important than breaking new speed records. While stealth avoids detection, what a jet does in enemy territory is just as important. Modern fighters pack powerful sensors. They scan air and ground for hundreds of miles, track dozens of targets, jam radars and communications, and fuse data for a single clear picture. Radar, infrared cameras, threat warning systems, all combined into one display to give incredible situational awareness. Extreme top speed is no longer the goal, but agility is still vital. If detected and forced into a close fight, a stealth fighter must outturn its opponent. Jets like the F-22 are built for stealth, for speed, and for incredible maneuverability. The F-22 uses thrust vectoring. Its engine nozzles move to steer with thrust, enabling maneuvers impossible for other jets. The F-35 goes further. It shares its sensor picture with other aircraft, with forces on the ground and at sea, a quarterback in the sky. Networked fighters are far more powerful than the sum of their parts. To understand the shift, compare the SR-71 Blackbird and the F-35 Lightning II. Different eras, different missions. A complete change in philosophy. SR-71, reconnaissance, not a fighter, above 85,000 feet, over Mach 3.3, the fastest air-breathing piloted aircraft ever built. Its defense was speed and altitude. When a missile launched, pilots pushed throttles and outran it. A titanium masterpiece, but not stealthy, not armed, not agile. Speed was its only trick. F-35, about Mach 1.6, less than half the SR-71, not even as fast as a 1970s F-15. If it tried to outrun a modern missile, it would fail, but it is designed never to be in that situation. Stealth, first shot beyond visual range, brains over legs, a flying supercomputer for information warfare. The race for speed is over. The race for information dominance, stealth, and networking has taken its place. In conclusion, the reason United States fighter jets are not getting faster is simple. There is no longer a good reason to make them faster. Missiles made outrunning danger obsolete. Pouring money into marginal speed increases is a technological dead end. Today's goal is not to outrun the enemy, but to outthink them. A modern fighter like the F-22 or F-35 is designed to be a ghost in the machine, using stealth to hide, sensors to understand, and data links to share. This gives American pilots a decisive information advantage, more capable, more survivable, and more deadly. In the 21st century, it is clear that the smartest jet, not the fastest, rules the skies.